Welcome to Super Great Kids Stories, fun tales to make you laugh and cry, with some of the best storytellers from around the world, recommended for ages 5 to 105. I'm Kim, and I love stories. Well, hello, and how are you? The story I'm going to tell you today is Baboon and Tortoise. It's from East and Southern Africa. Tortoise is often seen as very wise in African stories, and even though he's very small, he often wins. I wonder if he'll outwit Baboon in this funny trickster story about two unlikely friends. But before we start, I'd just like to say thank you to 5-year-old Bert from Birmingham. Bert gave us a 5-star review and wants to know if we have any stories about wars. Brilliant, Bert. There are lots of Greek stories about wars. We'll see what we can do. Thanks for your review. And Lois, who's 6, would like a story about sloths. Lois likes sloths because even though they're very slow on land, apparently they're excellent swimmers. Marvellous. I wonder if you like swimming, Lois. One strange fact that I like about sloths, Lois, is that they only poo once a week. Strange. Anyway, fascinating. I wonder if you could post a picture of a sloth on our Facebook page at facebook.com/supergreatkidsstories. And if any of you would like to support our podcast, then do head over to kofi.com/supergreatkidsstories. Right, now, time for our story from East and Southern Africa about Baboon and Tortoise. Are you sitting comfortably? Am I sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Ready? Mouth open. Story, jump, out. Just like his cousin Monkey, Baboon was a trickster, always trying to get his own way by tricking the others. Now, although this may sound surprising, big, bouncy Baboon and titchy-teeny slow Tortoise were very good friends. They did everything together. Often Tortoise would say, "You're my best friend, Baboo. Do you know that?" And Baboon would nod and say, "I feel exactly the same way, Torty, old chap." But one day, as friends sometimes do, they fell out. And here's the reason why. One sunny day, Tortoise had an idea. Ding! "I'm getting a bit tired of stealing figs from the farmer's fig tree, Baboo. Why don't we plant our own fig trees?" Okay, said Baboon, scratching his bottom in delight at the thought of more plump, juicy figs. So they dug, and they dug, and they dug, and they drew water from the well, and they gently patted the soil around their very own baby fig trees. Pit-pat, pitter-pat, pit-pat, pitter-pat, pit-pat, pitter-pat. And then all they had to do was wait for those little trees to grow. Now, the trouble was Baboon was a bit lazy and he didn't really look after his tree, while Tortoise carefully watered and sang to his tree every single day. "Grow, little fig tree, grow and grow and grow. Grow, little fig tree, grow and grow and grow." And you know what happens when you water things and look after them? Well, little Tortoise's tree grew bigger, yes, and bigger, until, paf! It reached all the way up to the sky and had lots of lovely juicy figs growing on it. But oh dear, Do you think Baboon's tree did the same thing with no water? You're right. Baboon's tree got smaller and smaller and smaller until it shriveled up and looked just like a few dry, crumbly twigs. Baboon was not happy. He felt a little bit jealous of his best friend. So he said, Torty, my friend, shall I get the figs down from the tree for you, seeing as I've got big, strong legs and you've got little stumps?
Well, that would be very nice of you, Baboo. Thank you,
said Tortoise, trying very hard not to mind Baboon being a bit rude about his little stumpy legs. So Baboon leapt up the tree, dum 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 dum. But after a while, Tortoise looked up to see Baboon stuffing his face with figs. He ate and he ate and he ate and he slurped and he burped and he ate and he ate and he slurped and he burped and he even spat out the stalks. And before long, sticky fig stalks were raining down on Torty's shell. Pit-pat, pitter-pat, pit-pat, pitter-pat. Hey! shouted Tortoise. Baboo! Stop eating all my figs. I'm just checking, Torty, to see if they're ripe, Baboon shouted down. But there's none left, cried Tortoise. Oh dear, sorry about that, Torty. And with that, Baboon dropped out of the tree and walked off, licking his lips and rubbing his full belly with glee. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Well, the next day, Baboon came to see Tortoise. Why so sad, Torty? Duh, because you ate all my figs, sniffed Tortoise. Did I? Oh, shame, said Baboon. Shall I go and see if there are any ripe ones for you today, Torty? But before his little friend could answer, Baboon was up the tree again. Dum 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 dum. Be careful, Baboo, shouted Tortoise. But it was too late. The baboon was in so much of a hurry that he'd bashed into a bee's nest as he climbed. Before he knew it, the bees were buzzing and stinging and stinging and buzzing and buzzing and stinging. Bzzz, ouch! Bzzz, ouch! Bzzz, ouch! And Baboon fell to the ground. Whee! Thump! Tortoise crawled over to see if everything was okay with his friend. But before he could say anything, Baboon was brushing himself down and climbing straight back up into the tree. Dum 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 dum. Wait! shouted Tortoise. Be careful of the... But again, Baboon was in too much of a hurry and didn't see who was sleeping in the tree. Snake! Tss. Quick as lightning, Snake sank his fangs into Baboon's bottom, and the baboon came tumbling out of the tree again. Whee! Thump! Ouch! yelped Baboon. Once again, his little friend Tortoise made his way slowly, ever so slowly, over to Baboo. Oh dear, Baboo, you really must not go up my tree again, because you might disturb the... Dum 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 dum. Yes, that's right. Once again, Tortoise didn't get to finish his sentence because Baboon was so crazy for figs, he was up the tree before you could say yaga kazoo. And this time, he bumped into Woodpecker. Woodpecker is a bird who likes to drill into the tree for bugs with his beak. Drrrr, went Woodpecker. Drrrr, he went again, and then drrrr, he went all over Baboon's bottom. And as Baboon fell out of the tree, ooh, thump, he knocked all the figs off the tree one by one. And where do you think they fell? Why, they fell towards Tortoise, who was waiting at the bottom of the tree with his little mouth open wide, wide, wide. Baboon landed next to him. Thump! "Oh, thank you, Baboo," said Tortoise. "My figs are scrum-diddly-umptious. You really are such a good friend for picking them for me." But Baboon was not listening. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Baboon was bounding off as fast as his big, strong legs could carry him all the way home. And that is where he stayed for a good long time. And as for little Tortoise, why, he gathered up all the sweet, juicy figs left on the ground and took them home to share with his brothers and his sisters. And they ate and they ate and they ate and they ate and they lived, that's right, happily ever after. And that is where this story ends. Oh, poor Baboon. That was a no-good, horrible, very bad day. But maybe, just maybe, he learned something. Do you think Tortoise and Baboon carried on being friends? What would you do if your friend took all your figs? I wonder. Ask your grown-up what they'd have done. Thanks for listening. Special thanks to all our listeners in Zimbabwe and Kenya, particularly those of you in Harare and Nairobi. And thanks to all of you who like our stories. If you'd like to support our podcast, then head over to kofi.com/supergreatkidsstories. Oh, and every time you put a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, it helps to share these little stories with other people all over the world. And here's some news about a bonus guest story. This week, Wardle Studios are going to give you a little bit of a treat. Next Wednesday, we're going to post an additional story, which comes from a series of Australian tales called Bullfrogs and Lizards. They're narrated by David Smith. He's the co-producer on Super Great Kids Stories. David grew up in Australia. Bullfrogs and Lizards isn't really a series of traditional folk tales and fairy tales like the ones on Super Great Kids Stories. These stories were made up by David's granddad, and he told them to David and his sister when they were little. And now, David's recorded them to share with people like you. So, look out for the Bullfrogs and Lizards story on Wednesday this week. It's all about a little pig. See you soon.